Welcome to Real Estate Coach Uncensored on Inman News, where you'll find the best practices, tools, and technology tips to help you grow your real estate business. Here are your hosts, Bernice Ross and Greg McDaniel.
Welcome. I'm Bernice Ross, the CEO and President of Brokerage Up and RealEstateCoach.com.
And my name is Greg McDaniel, the co-host and co-founder of the wildly famous and successful podcast, Real Estate Uncensored. But today, Bernice and I together are Real Estate Coach Uncensored.
Greg, we have a fantastic show for our viewers today. It's called Telephone Prospecting Scripts That Work. In fact, I want to add that really work. And Greg has been out prospecting constantly by phone, and knocking on doors for 20 years. He is an expert at doing this. So we're going to take some of his best ideas. Now, Greg, I want to start with, what happened at the beginning of the pandemic, because you're kind of questioning about even if you should be making cold calls. So tell us about your thinking on that.
Nothing really ever stopped. I mean, I do a live cold calling show on my Facebook page. If you guys want to go watch it, I typically do Monday through Thursday at 4:30 Pacific. And you'll see my techniques and tactics and scripts and everything. And I was doing my typical calls, and I started seeing the trend, and people were saying, well, yeah, we want to sell, but don't come over to my house. And so this is something I've been battling with a little bit myself, because of the fact that, okay, I'll put all this work in, I'll get people who want to do something, but then they don't want to do anything because of, what's going on in society right now, and social distancing and disinfecting and everything else. It's a really kind of a topsy-turvy time in life right now. So I've been getting a lot of people that still definitely want to do something. We're just trying to figure out how to facilitate that right now.
Greg, on a typical week, what combination of cold calling versus door knocking do you typically do?
Well, one of the things that I've always talked about for the last 20 years in doing this business is that if you don't have anything to do, prospect. I mean, fill every gap in your day with prospecting. And the reason why that's the gas in your engine of your business that propels you down the road to success or to failure, depending on what and how much you're going to do. So for me, when I was full blown into doing calls, I was doing anywhere from 500 to 750 phone calls per day. And then also I would batch that out in groups of 250 phone calls, and then go take a break and go get lunch or whatever else. But I've always been using a triple line dialer. So the one I'm currently using right now is RedX, and I call through all kinds of folks on there. I'm not pigeonholed into just one field. And one of the most incredible ones that I actually have ever called, and I didn't think it would be anything, but it's absolutely phenomenal, is the for rent by owner. Because you can go after and do multiple different things there. You can, one, offer to help them get the property rented, which you're not going to make a ton of money doing, but you build a rapport, and you're bringing service to the people who own the property. You can see if they want to sell that property and kind of restart up, kind of change up their portfolio, or if they're thinking about buying more. So you have 3 opportunities to have a conversation with someone and bring value to them based upon you making one call. And that's why I'm a big proponent of RedX, because of, a couple of those different services. So if you're thinking about doing dials, guys, think outside the box, and then we'll get into some scripts and have some other fun. But that has proven to bring quite a few listings into our life and a lot of value to the local neighborhoods.
Yeah, the key thing that RedX does, and there are a number of other companies that do this as well, but they scrub all the names against the do not call list. And when you're doing this, you absolutely have to follow the do not call list guidelines. I mean, the fines can be in the thousands of dollars per call.
Mm-hmm.
So something to pay a lot of attention to. So you talked about the rent by owners. Who else should you be calling?
For sale by owners, I mean, this is a great opportunity to reach out there and really talk to them and inform them on what this is going to entail. Because a lot of people are just out there, as we all know, that they're just out there to save the commission, but they don't understand all the landmines and pits they might fall into just on simple stuff. Like, they probably don't know that you have to sign a COVID doc for every person that comes into their home here in California every time they go in, not just one time, right? That's just one document. And now let's talk about the contracts. Let's talk about disclosures. Let's talk about, the list goes on and on and on, how to properly set them up. Not to mention they got to take time off to, start, they got to come home and show their property, and the laundry list continues. So call them, bring value to them. Also, one of my favorites is, what we do a lot is once we have a home, and this is a strategy that I've used for a long time. And Bernice, I've told you about this and you're like, oh, that's a pretty good idea. Is when it comes to doing calls, I call just pending properties. It doesn't have to be yours, and the verbiage is very different. It's not that I just put a home pending, is a home just went pending in your neighborhood. Did you know? And then, because there's nothing wrong with calling around and giving information to the neighborhood, because that's not something they can read on Zillow, Redfin, or any of the other major websites, because that's just not public knowledge. You as a real estate agent can tell them the good news. Hey, Bernice, did you know the home at 123 Main Street just went pending, and it went pending in 3 days? Well, you knew it was for sale, but you didn't know it was pending. Well, have you thought about maybe taking advantage of this market and kind of getting an idea of what your home value might look like in today's area, in today's day and age? And I try to stay away from using verbiage that's very real estate-y, right? I don't think that's a word, but you know what I mean. Like I don't use do you want a current market evaluation? No. Do you want to know how much your home's worth? I mean, it's very blunt, very mainstream verbiage, and it's a very to the point conversations, because I've known for myself, I don't want anybody wasting my time anymore in fluffy scripts.
Greg, just to add additional value, what you were talking about, we've talked about this before, but get the reports from NAR, rpr.com. You belong to NAR, that's available to you. And also the reports from homedisclosure.com. Again, homedisclosure.com. Both those services are free.
Yeah, and they're great services too. I did the home disclosure for my own house, and I sat there and just read the whole thing. I'm like, this is so fascinating. I didn't know this about my house. And you would think that everyone would, but sometimes life gets in the way.
Well, it has tremendous information on it. Now, let's get to the scripts. So let's talk about the first one, which is the direct approach. What do you say, and how do you say it?
So everyone always kind of wonders about, how to build a script. Now, a script has 3 phases, okay? Who you are, where you're from, why are you calling? That's it, okay? So, hi, my name is Greg McDaniel. I'm with ABC, Real Estate here in town. The reason I'm calling today is I want to know if you're thinking about selling your home, and just go right for the jugular and get a yes or a no. I mean, isn't that the whole point of doing a call? Now, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to be like, well, you got to do this, that, and another thing. And that's fine. You totally can. In my business, what I've experienced, when I've done nearly 500,000 phone calls in my career, is that, hi, Bernice, my name is Greg McDaniel with ABC Real Estate. I just wanted to call today and quickly ask you, because I know you're busy. Are you in your family considering selling your home this year, or buying an investment property? Bing, bang, boom. It's very short. It's very sweet. And then, I mean, we could talk about how you can pivot and jump into additional conversations to build rapport, but that is the direct approach.
Now, you have another approach that's slightly different, that opens up the number of people that they might, where they're telling you about someone else who might know. They know about selling.
Right. So let's say we were going with the direct approach, right? And, you said you're not going to. We have a banter. We're getting some giggles, or however the conversation is going to go. And then I just say, you know what, Bernice? No. Which one of your neighbors should I go see if they would want to move? Which one would you like to see leave? And obviously you say this in jest, and you mean no malice or harm or disregard for anyone, but you're just doing it kind of to get a laugh out of somebody. And then you can go in and get the email and ask for permission to follow up. But, in the number one thing is just kind of letting their brain run for a second. Like, oh, that one neighbor is a real piece of work. I would like that person to move. But obviously that person can make their own decisions. But again, you get them laughing. You have a little bit of fun, you build a relationship, and you get permission to continue the follow-up. Therefore, what you did is not a waste of time. A lot of folks say, well, if I don't get a lead today, this is a waste of time. And I will counter you on this one. With 20 years of experience, over nearly 500,000 calls under my belt, it's not about the immediate sale. Now, are those nice? Yes. Are they going to happen every day? No. They're basically a unicorn. They happen, they show up every once in a while, but they're not here all the time. What you're doing is building your database, getting permission-based follow-up, building that rapport, building that relationship, so that when they're ready on their time frame, then you guys can have the sale.
Greg, one of the really important things when you're using any of these is to provide those reports, because what you're doing is say, even if you're not interested in selling, I have this report, would you like me to send it to you? And you've got the conversion then. That means that you've got permission to be in conversation. So you send it out and you ask, what did you think? What was the pricing accurate? Get the feedback. They're going to be surprised by what they see. So that's a huge takeaway. Now, I love this next script, go for no.
I read it. So it came from a book called Go for No, right? Naturally. And so what they talk about in that book is that, there's a salesman, and he had to get out there and he had to get rejected, I think 25 times a day. And so what I changed the script to is this: hey, Bernice, my name is Greg McDaniel with ABC Real Estate here in town. I'm calling today because I bet you're not thinking about selling your home this year, are you? And then you shut up and you let them talk. Now, here's the powerful thing about it. You're probably going, why would I ask them if they're not thinking? Because they've never been asked that question before. It's a conversation break. Like, it's not the normal, where they think the conversation is going to go. So you just admit it out front, going, hey, you know what, Bernice? I bet you're not thinking about selling your home this year, are you? And,
yep.
And then you respond, you know what? That's exactly why I'm calling. No matter what they say. Yes, no. Your response is, you know what? That's exactly why I'm calling today. And then you go into the Ford, scripts, family, occupation, recreation, and dreams.
Yeah, elaborate on that for people that are not familiar with that, Greg.
So Ford it could be either Ford or Frog, and I'll show you the difference. Now, this is the most powerful script on God's green earth, and there's only one reason why. Because everybody likes to talk about themselves. we're all the heroes of our own story. So if we indulge people and we ask questions directly linked to what they find interesting, not what we find interesting, they will be more apt to, want to talk with you and build that rapport. So get your pen and paper out. For all you millennials, get your thumbs moving on your phones. This is what it's going to be. Ford, family, occupation, recreation, and then the D can either be for dreams, or if you want to do Frog, it could be for goals. So family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. Now, when you're having a conversation with somebody, in any point of the conversation, it could be your mother-in-law, it could be your girlfriend, it could be you're on a first date, it could be your mom, it could be whoever, right? If you just, it doesn't have to be in that order by any way, shape, or form. It could be talking about, hey, recreation. You like to go boating? You like to go hiking? What do you do for a living? You sound like you're always working. Do you have family in the area? And then, dreams are very simple. Do you plan, where do you guys want to be in 5 years? Like, what would be optimal for you? And you just have these conversations, and you can forward on people. I will tell you one thing. It is the most powerful thing I've ever seen happen. I've used it back when I was on dating. I used it on dates, and it was a great time. People she just talked the whole time. It was great. I sat there and just asked questions, right?
Let me kind of cut in here for just a second. The thing that you're doing is the kind of questions you want to ask are how and what questions, because those open up the discussion. So, and, if you listen back to what you said, you're asking how and what, what do you like doing? What are, how do you spend your time when you have time off?
Yeah, it gets going, because then the law of reciprocity kicks in. They're gonna say, well, tell me about what you like to do, or what got you into real estate, or whatever the conversation. Ultimately, we all know where the conversation is gonna go. Like, real estate, how's the market? And then, of course, most real estate agents would say this, it's amazing. Well, that's hands down the worst response, because you're not in you're not listening to them, because what they're really saying, they might just be curious. But if you go deeper on the questionnaire and you say, well, it really depends. Are you thinking of buying, selling, renting, or investing? Oh, we're just curious. Oh, okay. It's really going to be that simple.
Now, Greg, you had some great ideas. One of the things, let's talk about regular open houses, and then you had some suggestions for doing a COVID open house in two different formats, which I thought was really was a great takeaway. So let's assume we're a year and a half, 2 years from now, whenever it is, and it may be sooner, where we can do regular open houses. How would you telephone prospect? Sometimes this is called circle prospecting, where you get a new listing, you do, calls 20, 20, or you door knock 25 homes on each side and 50 on the other side, or within the neighborhood, 100 homes.
Mm-hmm.
How would you go about doing that if you were doing this under, say, pre-COVID-19 in that environment?
So in the normal market, right?
Yes, a normal market.
Okay, so what I would do is I'll go to Redx. I'll take their GeoFarm aspect, and then I will do a circle or radius. I do either 100 to up to 250 homes, just to be gluttonous and really hit a lot of people in the area. Because what's the point? I mean, you want to get the word out, right? So let's invite the whole neighborhood over. And I just say, hey guys, my name is Greg McDaniel with ABC Real Estate. Just want to let you know we have a new property on the market at 123 Main Street, and we're going to be doing an open house from 1 till 4. And I wanted to come in personally and invite you to the open house, but I also want to invite you to the neighborhood only open house. It's going to be taking place from 12 to 1. I have some snacks from blah 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 restaurant, and some bottles of water and some sodas. If you like to come on by, maybe bring a family or friend or anyone else. Would that be something of interest for you? And then you'll get a couple of people. It's not going to be a huge amount. They're going to be coming, tromping through the property. But it is just another opportunity to have a conversation. And there's a few verbal twists in there that I put in. I said that I personally wanted to give you a call. I wanted to make it as close to as a personal invite, even though I might not know them, but I personally wanted to do it. My dad would always, when I was out door knocking or doing calls, he would say, tell them that Terry personally wanted to invite them. I said, okay. So I just call him up and say, I was just calling around, and Terry personally wanted me to reach out to you and just say hi and see if you'd come on through. And people would be like, he personally wanted me to get a message? And I'm like, yes, he did.
Now, here's a slight twist on that. The ones that, the one that I've always trained is the sellers have asked me to personally invite you to attend their open, their neighborhood open house. So again, that's one of the best ways to market, traditionally. But then you had two different twists on a COVID open house. Tell me, what that looks like, because that one is really relevant right now.
So COVID open house, I mean, and I'm actually, when we're filming this, I'm actually going directly after this to do exactly what I'm going to talk about. Is you go around and you do a geo circle around the property, and you call and say, hey, look, I know we're all social distancing right now. I know that no one's really doing open houses, but I'm not sure who you might know who might be thinking about moving into the area. But I wanted to personally extend out an opportunity to send you a link to my Zoom video that I'm going to film on this day at this time, where you can log in and I can walk through the property, answer any questions for you. You can send the link out to anyone that might be interested in viewing this as well. Because you're doing two things. One, you're building up your database, and two, you're showing people that you're respecting their distance, you're respecting their health, and you're respecting their families. You're also minimizing the impact of anyone tromping through your seller's property, while still getting the visibility and exposure that you need to sell the home. And so as long as you get that database and you keep building it up and you keep bringing value to the neighborhoods and to the people in the area, are you going to get 1,000 people to show up? Probably not. You're going to get 100? Probably not. Are you going to get 10? Maybe. That's pretty plausible. As long as you're consistent and persistent in regards to reaching out to the neighborhood and offering them a service that they would, be thankful to have. Because the guy I'm going to go shoot with today, I'm having a drone flyover. We're shooting Matterport. We're doing a Facebook Live. We're doing Facebook stories. We're doing Instagram stories. We're taking the video.
Wow.
We're putting it back out to IGTV. We're getting all kinds of stuff done so that we do 1 hour and we can get it all done. Everybody feels safe.
And what kind of results have you been getting? Because you were telling me about some of the numbers you're seeing on your views just right out, when you post, within the first week. What kind of numbers are you seeing?
Last week we brought on two properties, and one of them got over 2,400 views on my Facebook Live within 24 hours, which was staggering, especially with the algorithm. Then I said, why have I not been posting them to my Instagram and Facebook stories? So what I do, and it's very simple to do, guys. On my iPhone, and it should work for any Androids as well. I filmed the 15-second little story gaps, right? Put my little animations in, post them there. Then I go into my photo rolls. I grab those same images, same videos, and I put them over to my Facebook stories. And I'm seeing like upwards of 500 views per video. It's amazing to see the interaction, because I think, Bernice, what is it like? Facebook stories and Instagram stories get 15 times more interaction. I think that's right, something along there. But
yeah, I don't have those numbers. One of the things that comes to mind here, Greg, when you walk into a listing appointment and you talk about having a social media marketing plan, and then you take out the numbers that you can show that you've generated, and they're, last week or my last 2 new listings, look at this. And that's something that people, their jaws are going to drop and they're going to say, I want you. I mean, that makes you stand out. And again, in the area where you are, it's really tough to stand out because there's so much, there's so many people, there's so much competition, and there's so little inventory. So Greg, to wrap up for today, what's your final takeaway for our viewers?
My final takeaway, and you and I have talked about this before, go out. I think what I love about this is, Bernice, I'll tell you this real quick and I'll do the takeaway. You and I have talked about on our show a couple of times about how to create a Facebook page specifically for a property, a business page for each property that you list, because it's its own living entity. So you can add photos and videos and market updates and stuff that's going on in the neighborhoods and everything else. And then you can boost that so that you can, it's its own little, planet, right? And so guess what? When I got this listing, it's about 1.8 million that I'm going to go to today. And I told her that I was going to build that Facebook page. She lost her marbles. She's like, that's an amazing idea. And she fired her other agent, or didn't even relist to the other agent, because she's like, you know what? I like how you work. And I'm like, I like how I work too. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
So she was an expired listing and hadn't relisted with her agent yet. Wow.
And she's a licensed agent herself. Go get that one.
Keep on closing, Greg.
Always be closing, baby. So takeaways from this is, guys, the phones are not dead. People want to talk. They want to have conversations. They want the information. We used to take it for granted that we could, go do an open house, go to a restaurant, go to a bar, go do fill in the blank. Now people are craving that human interaction. They're craving real professionals who will show up, be honest and true to who they are as a person, but then also bring information, not try to sell someone on like, hey, look at all my awards and how cool I am. No. Just like, hey, can I help you? Can I serve you? Can I bring value to your life? How can I help build your business? How can I help you become more successful? And just start having conversations. Go out there and just enjoy the humans that are around you and say hi and watch what flows into your life.
Greg, great way to win. Anyway, thank you for joining us today. Join us next week for more tips on how to grow your real estate business.
Welcome to Real Estate Coach Uncensored on Inman News, where you'll find the best practices, tools, and technology tips to help you grow your real estate business. Here are your hosts, Bernice Ross and Greg McDaniel.